I think it's really cool to play music while people are eating and talking. I have a friend that does yoga, and sometimes they go and play music while she does yoga, and you got to be like third. It's the teacher, the students doing yoga, and then you. So like there's this, you want to be heard with what they're doing, but you don't want to be heard above what they're doing. These guys that play in the Indian restaurants on 6th Street are like my heroes. So those people are yapping and talking, and I went to Emily Hope Price once at pianos, and the people were talking. And they were talking, and they were talking, and they were talking. No one was. You couldn't hear her play that cello with that amplifier. And the tip jar came around. It was the most money she'd ever made. So you see, they were listening. They want to talk, but they were listening. Roland Larkin's Baby Otis is wonderful to be around because you can see how the human mind develops, where the boundaries of me begin and end, and at what age you actually start to figure out that you're separate from the world. I've read that infants, everything comes in equally without filter, and we're at Grand Central and we're eating up in the balcony and we're talking, and way several hundred feet away is some kind of musical performance, and it's very faint, and you can hear it over the crowd, and you can hear it over the trains and the conversation in the restaurant. But every time the piece of music ended, little Lotus clapped. And he's paying attention to us. He's playing with his toys. He's eating his food. He's in the moment, but he's also hearing the music way in the back. Which is an amazing thing, because the human mind absorbs everything at that age equally. If you're hearing Chinese in the background, when you're 6 months old, 18 months old, 2 years old. When you get older, you have a good chance of understanding Chinese, because it's locked away in a little file when it all came in the same. Now sound is scientifically proven. When you're 5, the memory cells of the brain that remember sound die. So you got everything you hear before you're 5, you can hear the rest of your life. After that, it's hard work. In 1959, a woman in Chicago was in a coma, and when she came out, she was speaking German. She didn't speak German. Family didn't speak German. Nobody in her community spoke German. They said, "What's going on here?" She was 60 years old. Then they found out, well, she's not really speaking German. That's some kind of gibberish. Carl Jung happened to be in town. He said, "I want to check this lady out." He said, "Wait a minute. There is a very rare dialect of German," and they did their work and found out, in fact, it was a dialect of German spoken in only 2 villages. She was speaking it correctly. How could this be? They looked into her life and found out when she was born in 1899, her mother stayed behind in the hospital because it was a difficult birth. Which means they probably, had to sew her up. It was 1899. And her housekeeper and her housekeeper's father took care of that baby for 6 months. And they came from one of those 2 villages in Germany. And the very first language that little baby heard was this mother and father taking care of her. So at the age of 59, when she was coming out of her coma, her unconscious mind said, "I guess I'm back at the beginning," and started speaking the German she'd heard all those years ago. Perfectly. People say babies don't remember. Bullshit. When we circumcise our boys, we don't give them any painkiller. I'm not saying that again. There's been a huge push since the 1980s with the rise of fundamental religions around the world to deny the science of the mind. People put a lot of money into proving dreams are nothing but random firing of neurons in the brain, and they have possibly no chance at meaning. And it's like, well, wait a minute. What does the mind look like when it's processing math? What's the mind look like when it's listening to music? What's the mind look like when it's reading? Random firing of neurons. That's bullshit. Dreams couldn't possibly happen, But that's, And they are in kind of a crisis. I see it. Because people aren't thinking for themselves. They're not even thinking. Went to see Ralph Nader talk before the election. I thought, well, you know, he's been around a long time. This might be the last chances. After his whole little thing, and he had a few little dishonest things. That's true. He said nobody in Canada died from lack of health care. I was like, you know, you're right. They died from lack of services. If you don't know what I'm talking about, that means if you got a rare leukemia in Canada, you're going to die. There's one hospital that takes care of it, and there's a long line of people, and everybody's the same. You just get in it. Unless you're a doctor. Then you come to America and you get care here in about 2 days. Everybody's got health care. They just don't have the services. Now, how do I know this? I went to a little hotel up in Harlem. 5 of them, I guess, so far have been doctors from Canada who came here to get help, surgery, etc., and so on. Because they had to wait too long in Canada. People aren't thinking. You got to take this and that, and you got to mix it up and put it together. We live in a world, we're all in it together. It doesn't matter where you are. It's like, that works, that doesn't, okay, that doesn't. Everybody knows when they were little. You didn't choose to be blonde-haired and blue-eyed or male. You didn't choose to live in Michigan. You didn't choose to be this or that, but you are who you are. And everybody's equal. Everybody's equal. Doesn't mean they're aware. Doesn't mean that they're able. They're equal. Because there's a lot of things I can't do. When I go to my doctor, I look at my doctor as I look at you as my equal. And I know the doctor can feel like, wow, this guy doesn't really need me to be a doctor. He doesn't need me. He's hearing me, seeing him, talking to myself. Homeless people, are you equal? We were at a party the other night. Uma Thurman was there. I had to go up and say hi. Several years ago, I took Master Lee to a charity event. It was for women's sciences, scientists and geographers. There was a silent auction of all these society ladies of bags and spa treatment and all this stuff. And right in the middle of it was this piece of black lava. One of the scientists being honored was a volcanologist, and that was her donation to the charity. And Willie proposed to Larkin, I want to marry you, and she said, well, I need a proper ring. It's got to be made out of black lava, carved in the form of a panther with green emerald eyes. You come up with a ring like that, and I'll marry you. But Will comes up and says, Rick, is that really a piece of black lava? Says black lava. Woman here says, you want to know about the lava? Yeah. And she went on about this piece of lava. I was like, how do you know? She goes, well, I'm a volcanologist. That's what I do. I study. That's from the deep ocean, somewhere in, off Indonesia. What's it worth? $40. Says right there, $40 to $50. Bidding in $5 increments. It's a silent auction. Will says, what do I do? I says, you put down $40. So Will's standing there now like this, Master Lee, and he's got the rock right at his back, and the table is a big U-shaped thing. And the ladies are coming in, and they're buying shit. And he's going, ladies, please, bid on these things. Help out the charity. Buy the spot. Buy the thing, please. Nobody touch the rock. This is going good for about an hour, and we're all getting a kick out of it, except Milbury, who's running the foundation. She's pissed as hell. I brought this uncouth Chinaman. And then while Will's talking to someone over here, he sees in the corner of his eye this long, flowing dress. Lady, shh, don't bid on the rock. I'm getting it from my wife for a wedding ring. She says, I'm getting it from my son. She stands up. It's Uma Thurman. Rick, what? Uma Thurman just put $45. What do I do? You put 50. It's Uma Thurman. It's $50. So he goes over and puts $50. Your son's over, Mom, that guy just put in $50. We'll put 55. This went on for a while. $5 increments up to about $185. It's the talk of the evening. At about $150, Uma's mother comes up to Will and she says, "Va, you don't let Uma have the rock." You're going to send your mother to bully me! Oh my God! Put $12 down for her! performance between Master Lee and Uma Thurman. The silent auction is supposed to end before they have dinner, but it's gotten to be too much fun. It's now about $650 at $5 increments. They're going to keep this part of the auction open during the dinner. And they say, in case you hadn't noticed, there's kind of some action going on over there. It's a black rock. Anybody else want in on it? We're keeping it open to the end of the evening. Uma at the time was dating that French billionaire money guy, and he ran over and put a bid that looked like $7,000. I said, damn. I went and looked at it and went, hey, all right. Is that a 1 or a 7? It's a 1. Will says, what do I do? 2005. Uma's son comes over and says, please raise the money. Why? And I said, Will, don't you see? The little kid doesn't like the boyfriend. And he's making him pay for this fucking rock. The little joy he gets while Mom and everybody else does their thing is to make the boyfriend shell out $1,000 for a $40 piece of rock. Hey, Uma. Yeah? You let Will get that. If Will lets you get this rock, will you break off a piece and let him make a hunk for his wife's wedding ring? Sure, let's, whatever, it's fine with me. So for $1,010, Uma got the rock. We haven't seen our piece yet. So I had to go up to Uma and say the other day, say, hey, remember that rock? No. Yeah, you do, from Wings World Quest. We're still waiting for our piece for Will and Martin's wedding ring. They got a little baby now. 2 years old. I gotta go, I'll talk to you later. But she did have to go.
Talk to you later.
Talk to you later. In a year or two at some function somewhere. Life is funny like that. I said, Will, what'd you get out of the night at the charity? He says, well, I met the number 3 guy at Scientology. I said, really? He said, yeah. I asked him, was it really true that this religion was based on 3 failed science fiction writers pretending who can make a successful religion? The guy took his drink and said, I need another drink. And the hostess said, what's going on? He goes, no one ever asks the hard questions. I like this guy. So you always got to be yourself. Always say what you think. Not what some you think they want to hear. What you think. My friend Hank had some social rules that were quite good, and one of them was always give honest and sincere criticism from the bottom of your heart when asked. Hey, what'd you think of my song? Really? I'm glad to tell you. Just remember you asked. I loved it. But that one part kind of got us soapy, and I think maybe you might want to just cut that out. I don't know if you, I didn't really, I'd rather just end it just before that. But I really did love it. It's easy to do. Because you got the bottom of your heart, you feel it all the time. If somebody does something that moves you, even if it pisses you off, it's done something. I think that's the primary motivation, the primary human factor. Someone asked me once, because I'm very much an atheist, they said, well, where do you think we learn good if we don't learn it from our religions? I said, well, we really don't learn it there. And I gave it to them, I said, it's the first thing we learn in life. You're born, and somebody feeds you, and they adore you, and they, this fresh baby alive, eating for the first time, whether it's your mother or a nurse to you in an incubator. And you learn that to survive, for your basic needs to survive to be met, there must be an exchange of good feelings. And that's true for overwhelming 1 billion people born every year. We know it's true because of the few mothers that can't do that and how it affects their children. It seems like to me after that point a whole lot of thing is diminishing that sense of goodness. I remember being 4 years old, getting ready for kindergarten, and I was sitting down sort of in a lawn, sorting things out in my mind, what I'd learned since I was born. And I was sorting stuff out, like when I'm going to school, I got to get like silliness out of the way and get the serious facts in the spot of my mind. I was putting all the stuff I knew that was true in the box of true, you know, you touch the fire, you get burned. The stuff that wasn't true, I was putting over in the, well, I'm just not going to bother with that. And that includes sort of the religion of my neighbors. We had Arabs, we had Jews, we had Catholics, we had Wasps. One of each. It was a small Michigan town. Well, that's a bunch of nonsense. I'm not going to put any of that in my truth box. I'm going to just let them. This pressure went off. Whoa. Wow. If you don't put things that aren't true in your mind that tell you it is true, suffering goes away. I went, man, I just solved human suffering. 4 years old. Every other 4-year-old in the world just figured out at the same time I did. That's how life is. You know, you're a little kid, I think. And I said to myself, wow, everyone that's 5 and older, I'm trying to figure that out. I feel sorry for them. I was disappointed when I got to school and found out that I was the only 4-year-old. I had to wait a year for any other 4-year-olds to come around, and sure enough, they hadn't figured it out. So you just got to be yourself. That seems to be the big theme of my thing these days. Just be yourself. I'm done.